It is At the Movies with Tim Sika. Time to have some fun. Hi, Tim Sika.
Hi, Kim McAllister.
Hi. You always bring the
Hi.
good stuff. Yes.
Uh,
So,
well, yeah, I hope to have. Yeah, I think I
mhm,
have. I'm bringing some good goods to the show this week, I
excellent.
think. Yeah.
Your first movie that you have for us is Freakier Friday. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this movie.
Did you see the original Freaky
Yeah, yeah.
Friday? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
you know, I
Okay.
thought it was kind
Well,
of cheesy. I didn't love the original. Did you?
not particularly. No.
No.
Okay. Well, this is a 22 years later sequel, right,
Okay.
to 2003's Freaky Friday. Pretty much starring across the board the same cast who appeared in Freaky Friday. Only in the
Mhm.
first movie, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan, playing mother and daughter, right, inadvertently switch bodies through the magic of Chinese fortune cookies. Whereas in this new one, Freakier Friday, Lindsay Lohan, she's playing the same role. She switches bodies with her daughter, played by Julia Butters, and Jamie Lee Curtis. She's still playing the mother of Lindsay Lohan, but now she's a grandmother. She switches bodies with her daughter's soon-to-be stepsister, played by Sophia Hammonds, through the magic of a supposed psychic, played by Vanessa Bayer. I mean, can you follow all of that, Kim?
No.
I barely could.
No.
Okay, so this is another in the long line of body swapping comedies, which in a way I can't believe they're still making. I mean, the conceit is really old and it's really tired. This one tries to put a more layered spin on that genre, but for me, it only resulted in an occasionally confusing, loud, raucous, overlong, overstuffed, overacted, and at best, intermittently amusing comedy. I just found the entire
Mhm.
enterprise exhausting. The first 25 minutes, for one, is a real slog to get through. It's this jumbled mess of plot and exposition, which as you're watching it, you wish you keep wishing you were somewhere else, anywhere else but
Oh
watching the movie.
no.
Really, which when it comes right down to it, is really nothing more than a one joke premise that becomes tiresomely repetitive, in my opinion. But let's see. Okay, so what's good about the movie? It has a nice family message, I think, about unselfishness. You know, by switching bodies, these characters come to know and understand each other better, and they learn more about themselves, and that's a good message, I think, for kids. Jamie Lee Curtis, who plays, a grandmother in this Freaky Friday iteration, she seems to be having a ball these days. Since having won the Academy Award for Everything Everywhere All at Once, she seems to
Mhm.
be everywhere all at once, appearing in movies every time you turn around, really enjoying herself playing various character roles. So she was kind of fun to watch. The sequels brought back several cast members from the original, providing these actors with work. That's a good thing. It's a very female centric picture, written,
Mhm.
directed, starring, and scored by some very talented women. It may not be the worst family film out there. I suppose you could do worse, but to be honest, I didn't care for it. I found it noisy and loud and predictable with its squishy, happy ending where everything is tied up in a nice little bow. And for a 111-minute comedy, we get maybe a handful of chuckles if we're lucky.
Oh.
So I say skip it. I mean, unless you're dying to see a sequel to a movie you may or may not have seen 22 years ago, you may want to check it out. I don't know.
It
Ugh.
seems like you and Michael Snyder felt very similarly about this movie.
Oh,
He,
really? Oh, that's
he
good.
said
Great minds. Yeah.
he said it does what it needs to do, but meh, no, thank you. No.
Yeah, and I just think
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe it was me, but I kept thinking like, okay, so wait a minute. So Jamie Lee Curtis body switched with who now? And who
Oh,
I actually got confused as to who was in whose body. I mean, after about half an hour I got it, but in the beginning I'm going, what? Whatever. Yeah.
Donald says I'm getting a headache trying to keep all that straight.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Multiple switches?
I have to say, I couldn't believe I was able to even. I may have gotten that wrong in the synopsis, but because there were so many like layers of body switching in the movie. But
Mhm.
it made me tired, and it's like, and it was too long. They should have cut it to like 90 minute.
Yeah.
They had to like give you all this exposition to lay the groundwork for all this stuff that was going to follow, and you're just wondering like, well, why does this seem like a chore to follow. It's supposed to be a comedy, a light comedy, a light family comedy. Anyway,
Yeah,
I'm
and that's
I'm
the point.
sounding redundant. Yeah.
No, that's the point of those family movies is you want something just quick and easy to watch, not something complicated.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
fun,
Mhm.
So, but I guess, the onus on the filmmakers was to, like, bring something new to the genre, which is, like I say, it's so tired. But in the process, they just, made your head hurt, made my head hurt anyway.
Speaking of that tired genre, Tammy says Jodie Foster was a Freaky Friday star about 50 years ago.
Yeah, that's right. She was. Yeah, you know what? I don't know. Apparently, I didn't realize this, but apparently there have been like 7 other films in the Freaky Friday, or 6 other films in the
Oh,
Freaky Friday IP. I only know the first one and this one. I don't know if I've seen the other ones. Is
I don't
it
know.
maybe one of those are the ones Jodie Foster's in? Maybe, I don't
I
know.
don't know. I think our life has been just fine without them, and we don't need to go back and see all 7. No,
No,
no.
I think there's better things to watch, but yeah.
The next movie is called Weapons.
Weapons is this week's horror movie. Not a week goes by
Woo!
where we don't get at least one horror movie to talk about. Okay, last week it was Together,
Yeah.
which I enjoyed immensely. I think I called it my favorite horror film of the year, and now
Mhm.
comes Weapons, which I'm thinking might tie for the year's best horror movie
Oh, okay.
alongside Together. Okay, it's directed and written by Zach Krager, who also happens to be a founding member of the comedy troupe The Whitest Kids You Know.
Oh,
Okay, it's kind of good that he has a comedy background. I'll say in a second here, but this is both a horror movie and an effective and weirdly troubling mystery. The premise is that I think, yes, it was at 2:17 a.m. in the middle of the morning, middle of the night, one very early morning, 17 children from the same school class simultaneously and inexplicably leave their homes in this small town where they reside, and they vanish into thin air, with the sole exception of one little kid, one boy. And initially, the finger of blame is pointed at the teacher of these kids being behind this inexplicable disappearance. But a police investigation is launched, and the whole movie becomes this exploration from the perspective of these various townspeople affected by the incident of what exactly happened. Who was responsible for these kids' disappearance? Where the hell did they go? Where are they? Why this one child was left behind? And what the hell's going on? I mean, okay, so intriguing, interesting stuff. Okay, I have some caveats here. The screenplay it left me with a lot of questions. I'm not sure all of it adds up, but what makes the film ultimately work is that, very simply, it gets under your skin. It's very
mm.
tense. It's very unnerving. It's creepy. It's scary. It reminds you of me. You know what it reminded me of? Maybe why, I was afraid of the dark when I was little. There's
Oh.
something about the movie that captures that.
Hmm.
It's like this mystery puzzle that you're trying to figure out too, while being misdirected almost at every turn. There are aspects of it that call to mind, I mean, in terms of themes like mob mentality, mob reactivity, our humanity's tendency to look for scapegoats when something happens and we don't know why, so we try to blame somebody.
Hmm.
I hesitate to say this too, because I don't think this is necessarily a great film, but I think it's a masterpiece of mood.
Yeah.
It's an achievement in horror movie direction. There's more character development in this movie than you generally find in horror movies, which exist to just more or less shock you, although there's appropriate amounts of shock here too,
Hmm.
especially in the film's bloody and graphic and violent denouement. But there's also humor, which was a nice surprise. Humor that worked really well within the fabric of the mystery fabric and the horror
Hmm.
fabric of the film, which is not always an easy thing to pull off, mixing tones like that.
Right.
And the humor also served as a kind of emotional catharsis for all that we were being put through,
Hmm.
and that was psychically disturbing about what we were witnessing on screen. I think the less you know about, I'm kind of talking around the movie, but I think the less
Yeah.
you know about it, the better. It's a bit long at 2 hours and 8 minutes. But,
Oh,
in addition to last week's Together, it's one of the tiny handful of horror films that I would definitely watch again, mostly because I think that in addition to all of the external plot trappings and surface tension and scares, there's something else at work in this movie, something going on which I'm still attempting to distinguish. It kind of stuck with me.
oh,
And I
yeah.
mean, I'm thinking of things like school shootings and child abductions, which really
Yikes.
weren't what this movie was about, but there were the way all this stuff in the story was dramatized made me, in retrospect, think about those things. So
Mhm,
before I cast award ballots for movies this year, this is
mhm.
definitely one horror movie I plan on seeing again. So I
Oh, wow.
recommend it. It's good. It's
Okay.
really good. And I also think it's a horror movie that's palatable for those of us, I include myself, that
Yeah.
get really grossed out at these horror movies that are just all graphic, like disgusting, you know, people getting ripped up and killed
Yeah.
by,
The
whatever. I
gore.
mean, there's some of that, but it's yeah, it's okay. You can
Mhm.
handle it. So anyway, it's a good horror movie. Weapons. Yeah.
Weapons. Your next one is called East of Wall.
Yeah, East of Wall. This is a fascinating and original, very original drama written and directed by Kate Beecroft. And okay, so what is it about? Okay, it's this very authentic, and I'll explain what I mean by that forthcomingly, but it's this authentic portrait of female resilience in what the movie calls the New West, inspired and played by the women and the girls who live it today. And I'll explain what that means. But the story's set in the Badlands of South Dakota, in the town
Mhm.
of Wall, South Dakota, which I had never heard of, hence the title, East of Wall. And it's the tale of this young, rebellious female rancher who rescues and resells horses, who's got to make some hard decisions in dealing with her fractured family. She's a single parent. She's experiencing financial uncertainty and the possibility of losing her ranch. She's also personally dealing with this unresolved grief from sexual trauma that she experienced in her past, all the while providing refuge and the skills of the horse trade to a group of wayward neighborhood teens who are living on the ranch with her. She's an incredible horse whisperer too, this woman. Anyway, this rebellious female's rancher's name is Tabitha Zuniga, and I say that because Tabitha Zuniga actually plays herself in the film. So
Oh, interesting.
very meta, this
Okay.
concept, this movie, which is kind of like docufiction, and by that I mean this is a fully scripted story, but it's rooted in the real life experiences of this woman who's never acted before, but who plays herself in the film, and she's extraordinary.
Yeah.
She's a natural. Anyway, so the film is part fictional story inspired by this woman, and the real life women who also play themselves in the film, meaning partly inspired by the lives of these women on this ranch and part documentary, so to speak, or rather, it has a the movie has a very distinct documentary feel, even though it's
Hmm.
obviously a narratively structured movie, and it's very special. Kim, there's no other word for it. Its strength, as I mentioned earlier, is in its authenticity
Hmm.
and its search for, how can I say this, emotional truth that's based on historical truth, factual truth. The filmmaker, Kate Beecroft, she actually lived on this ranch with these women for 3 years as she wrote this story about them.
Wow.
I know, amazing story. And the story about the making
Mhm.
of the movie is just as interesting as the film itself. If anybody's interested, there's lots of information online about that. But it's a very singular kind of movie in that it exceptionally and vividly introduces us to a world we would never experience otherwise, this
Mhm.
world of female ranchers in this, you can almost say, remote part of the United States, Wall, South Dakota, that I never heard of before.
Mhm.
And apparently the director never heard of either, until she accidentally took a wrong turn, literally, and she stumbled upon this city or this small town and the women who were living it. Yeah, and it's about these women who run this ranch, who rescue horses and then sell them to interested buyers and participate in rodeo activities. It's really unlike any film you will ever see this year. It's emotionally grabbing, it's powerful, it's absorbing, where you almost immediately developed a strong rooting interest in these characters, in these women. And as a woman helming a story with a strong with strong female leads in a Western context, this film cannot help but, at minimum, be a kind of a cinematic reinvention of the Western genre, because it's current. The issues that these women deal with are very relatable to what's going on in the country right now. It's a very now movie. It's a way of life we have never seen depicted before in the movies. It's a strong story about strong women. And it won the Audience Award at Sundance this year. So people are really digging it, not just me, not just this critic. So I recommend it. It's a one-of-a-kind special experience. I will say, I had no context for the film before I saw it, and I'm watching it and I'm going, okay, what is this? It's a bit odd. I wasn't sure what I was seeing, but give it about 20 minutes, and then it kicks in, and trust me, I think people listening will find it very rewarding to stick with it. It's an amazing movie, very special. Probably the best film this week that I've seen.
Okay. Yeah. Your classic movie recommendation of the week is Network.
Network. Have you ever seen Network?
I don't think I have.
Okay, Network. Yeah, the mad prophet of the airwaves. Evening news anchor Howard Beale, who's mad as hell and not taking it anymore. You've heard of that, right?
Yeah.
I'm mad as hell and I'm not taking it anymore. Okay, this is screenwriter Patty Chayefsky's overwhelmingly brilliant and hilarious jab at the television industry, that when it first came out, it almost seemed like science fiction, but in terms of movies has become, in my opinion, the very definition of prescient, because it was predictive of what was to come. Now, Kim, I saw this movie in the theater in my teens when it was released in 1976, and watching it at that time was like watching something that appeared to be so completely insane, while feeling like simultaneously you were being hit by this bolt of lightning. Because what's dramatized in Network, certainly in terms of news and television in general, all the craziness and outrageousness and insanity depicted in this movie has literally become the norm. Corporate overreach and influence with regard to the television industry, the manic race for ratings at all costs, and news as entertainment. Okay, it's a brilliant, funny film. It's directed by the great Sidney Lumet. I think it's arguably lost maybe a little bit of its edge because it's totally inaccurately reflective of media today. So it may not come across as shocking as it was when it was first released 50 years ago next year. I can't believe this movie's 50 years old almost, either in its story or its characters, but it's still superb entertainment. It's magnificently, yeah, there's Howard Beale. I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. But it's magnificently acted by Peter Finch, who won an Oscar, Faye Dunaway, who won an Oscar, and Beatrice Straight, who all won acting Oscars for their roles. The screenplay by Patty Chayefsky, in my opinion, is one of the greatest scripts ever to come out of Hollywood. It too won an Academy Award. For those who haven't seen the film, the story is about a news anchor played by Peter Finch in that photo there, whose low ratings cause his nightly news hour to be canceled. So he threatens to commit suicide on air in his next broadcast, but he relents. But then he suddenly begins to tell the truth, to say exactly what he thinks, ultimately becoming a media sensation with the highest rated show on television. So there's so many great lines, this great dialogue, so many great scenes. It was also one of William Holden's last roles. He played a network news division president. It's just simply one of the best movies ever. If you've never seen it, you are definitely missing out on one of the great ones. Faye Dunaway, she plays, I can't even describe, she plays this soulless, ambitious, driven woman who only cares about ratings. And it's probably her greatest screen performance, deservedly winning her an Oscar. But anyway, I can't recommend this movie enough. I think it's streaming. Yes, I know for a fact that it's streaming on Prime Video. So if people haven't seen it and they want to check it out, this is one of the greats, this movie network.
Okay, and it's streaming on, did you say Prime?
Prime Video, yep.
Okay. All right, we're going to recap it. Tim Sika started this report with Freakier Friday. And of this movie, you said it's exhausting. It's hard to get through the first part. You kept wishing you were somewhere else, anywhere but the theater. But it does, you said, you gave it props for its nice family message, for Jamie Lee Curtis, who's fun to watch, for the fact that it's a female-centric kind of picture. You said it's not the worst family movie, but you thought it was noisy, loud, and predictable, not that funny. And you say, skip Freakier Friday. Skip it.
Yeah.
Weapons. You said this one ties with last week's horror movie together for your favorite horror movie of the year. You said it gets under your skin, and it's a masterpiece of mood, great character development, humor works well with the mystery, which you thought was surprising and cool. It's kind of long, but it stuck with you, and you recommend Weapons. But your favorite movie of the week is East of Wall. You said it's very special. You really recommend this movie. You said it's a very special movie that almost reinvents and modernizes Westerns, the genre of Western movies. You called it authentic, emotional, unlike any other movie that you will see or hear. And you said it won an audience award at Sundance. You say this is really worth seeing. It's called East of Wall. Feels like a documentary, you said, but it's a really one of a kinder.
Yep.
And as far as the classic movie recommendation of the week, you picked Network from 1976. You said this is one of the greats, and you need to see it. It stands the test of time. A lot of Academy Awards passed out for this movie. Network streaming on Prime, I believe you said. I was trying to write that down.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Accurate, perfect. Yeah, it was. I remember this when this movie came out. It went into the idea like, well, what would happen if the network news went under the entertainment division and didn't operate independently? In the past, news divisions operated independently, and the hit TV shows, they always lost money. The network news division, they always lost money, but that money was made up by the hit shows, right? Mm-hmm. So, but in this movie, the news division of this network goes under the entertainment division, which is exactly what's going on today. It's all about entertainment. It's all about ratings. It's all about diverting you. They did not predict like networks like Fox News, but that would have been the next thing I think this movie would have predicted if it had gone on for another 20 minutes. But so prescient watching the film, you go, my God, this is all happened. Only it's worse today. It's worse. Anyway,
now
great movie.
Now you don't even need your news to be factually based. You can it's so much entertainment over at Fox and Friends and whoever else that it's just, you could make up whatever you want and broadcast it as entertainment, and it's not really news at all. And it's really hard for people to tell the difference. And it's really, it's sucked us as a country right into the crap bin.
Yeah. Well, on that happy note, yes, very eloquent, very accurate. Yeah, I agree.
At the Movies with Tim Sika, you're awesome. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Kim. I'll talk to you next week. Have a good weekend.
Bye, Tim.